It's been 8 long years since the Carolina Panthers had a winning season. 8 years of rebuilds, resets, and recycled hope. And now, it all comes down to this. 2025 might be the most important year in franchise history. Because if Bryce Young doesn't prove that he's that guy, if this defense doesn't step up, if the coaching change doesn't pay off, then that blockbuster trade for the number 1 pick, the one that gave up DJ Moore and the future first and second, that might go down as the deal that set the franchise back a decade. But here's the thing. There's talent, there's upside, there's a new front office, and this season could either be the moment that the Panthers rise from the ashes or completely fall apart. So let's talk about why 2025 is truly a boom or bust year for the Carolina Panthers, and what it means for the future of the entire franchise. Last season was a roller coaster for the Carolina Panthers, one that started in disaster but ended with a flicker of real hope. Coming into the year, all eyes were on Bryce Young. The former number 1 overall pick was supposed to take a step forward under new head coach Dave Canales, but instead he stumbled right out of the gate. In the first 2 weeks of the 2024 season, Young threw 3 interceptions, 0 touchdowns, and was eventually benched in favor of veteran Andy Dalton. It was a low point, and people were already throwing around the word bust. The defense wasn't doing him any favors either. The Panthers couldn't stop anybody. They were bottom tier in points allowed and struggled to generate takeaways. The 2024 Carolina Panthers defense is statistically the worst defense the NFL has ever seen. At this point in the season, Carolina looked like a team certain for consecutive first overall picks. But then, things changed. Young returned to the lineup in Week 8 after Dalton went down with an injury, and while his comeback wasn't electric at first, something clicked as the season went on. He started to get more comfortable, more confident, and suddenly the Panthers began to look like a real football team. They picked up back-to-back wins against the Saints and Giants, their first win streak in 2 years. Bryce started making smart reads, using his legs more and limiting his mistakes. He pushed both eventual Super Bowl teams to the brink, coming up short only due to some Mahomes magic in one game and a heartbreaking Xavier Legette drop in the other. Then came Week 18. That's when Bryce Young finally looked like the guy Carolina had traded the farm for. Against Atlanta, he dropped 3 passing touchdowns, rushed for 2 more, and finished the game with a 123.5 passer rating, the highest of his career. Oh, and he led a 44-38 overtime win to close out the season. By the end of the year, his stat line wasn't jaw-dropping: 2,403 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 9 picks. But the growth, that was undeniable. So now the question is, was that real progress or just a few hot games at the end of a meaningless season? So this offseason, Carolina's front office, now led by GM Dan Morgan, made defense priority number 1. And they didn't just patch holes, they brought in real difference makers. It started off in the trenches, where they landed Tershawn Wharton on a 3-year, $54 million deal. He's not a household name yet, but he put up 8.5 sacks with the Chiefs last year, and his ability to create interior pressure is the perfect complement to Derek Brown. Suddenly, this defensive line has some teeth. On the edge, they brought in Patrick Jones II from Minnesota, a high-motor pass rusher who just had a career-high 7 sacks. He's not a Pro Bowler yet, but he brings a level of consistency that this defense desperately lacked. Then in the secondary, they made a splash with safety Trayvon Moehrig. He's started every game for the Raiders the past few years and adds both leadership and range on the back end. And let's not forget Bobby Brown III, the 6'4", 330-pound nose tackle who's coming in to anchor the run defense. He may not light up the stat sheet, but his job is to eat blocks and let the linebackers fly around. Exactly what this defense was missing. Add all that up with the return of Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, who both, when healthy, are one of the best young defensive players in the game, and this suddenly looks like a defense with real potential. Now, they might not be elite overnight, but they don't have to be. They just need to be competent, because if the defense can hold up its end of the deal, Bryce might finally have a shot to show the league what he can really do. Now, with all those defensive additions and free agency, most people assumed that the Panthers would double down on that side of the ball in the draft. But instead, they threw a curveball. In the first round, with the 8th overall pick, Carolina shocked everyone by taking Arizona wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan, a 6'5" ball-tracking machine who instantly adds size, hands, and red zone ability to an offense that badly needed a true X receiver. It was a bold move, especially with several defensive prospects still up on the board. But it sent a message. The Panthers aren't just trying to fix Bryce's environment, they are trying to empower him. And they didn't stop there. They doubled down on defense, adding more pass-catching talent on day 3 and bolstering the offensive line depth. This front office clearly believes Bryce's ceiling is worth betting on, and they're making sure he's got the tools to succeed. But don't get it twisted, they didn't forget about defense. The Panthers snagged 2 high upside edge rushers later on in the draft, Nick Scorton from Texas A&M and Princely McMillan from Ole Miss. Both guys bring energy, versatility, and the kind of long-term developmental upside that can pay off big down the road. So yeah, the draft wasn't what fans expected, but it might be exactly what this franchise needed. A balance of support for Bryce and value on defense. Because if this team is going to boom in 2025, it's going to take contributions from every corner of the roster. So, while the Panthers made some smart moves in free agency and the draft, especially adding edge rushers and offensive weapons, some key issues still linger. The biggest question mark though, safety. Carolina still doesn't have a cemented free safety to really lock down that secondary. A name like Julian Blackmon keeps coming up as a perfect fit, someone who could bring leadership, ball skills, and consistency to the back end, but if they don't address that, the defense might still struggle to hold up against NFL offenses. But let's talk potential. If Bryce Young continues to build on his late season growth, the defense gels with the new pieces, and the offense clicks with those fresh weapons, this team could surprise a lot of people. The ceiling, I'm seeing an 11-season win, maybe even a playoff berth if everything falls into place. On the flip side though, if Young struggles again or the defense remains a liability, then the Panthers could easily slip back to a losing record. I'm giving them a floor of 4-13. Either way, 2025 is the pivotal season for the Carolina Panthers. This isn't just another year on the schedule, it's the moment where the franchise either takes a giant leap forward or sinks back into the shadows for years to come. The future of this franchise, its identity, its fan base's patience, and its next decade. It all hangs in the balance. 2025 isn't just a season, it is the defining crossroads. This is boom or bust Carolina. No in between, no excuses. The stakes have never been higher. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more NFL content. Got thoughts on the Panthers' chances? Be sure to drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear your predictions. Will Bryce rise? Will the defense hold up? Let's get that conversation started. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep it locked here for everything NFL. See you in the next video.